Okay, now we're recording. So we are started here in Blackboard on the Begin Here page, and if you need to get to the navigation menu on the left side, just drag over and you'll get an arrow that pops up. If you click on that arrow, it will show you the full navigation bar over here, and there you can access everything else that you need for the semester. So I just kind of want to walk you through this. I think on, remind me, on Tuesday, did we go over some of this stuff, announcements and all that stuff, where that is? Yes, no, maybe. Okay, I'll just click on it real quick. Announcements, I do post announcements a lot throughout the semester. Sometimes they have links in them. Sometimes it's just kind of a, hey, just to let you know this is what's going on, a reminder that exams are coming up or something's due. Stuff like that. So be sure to check those announcements pretty much anytime you log into Blackboard. For any of your classes, I suggest that you open up the announcements tab just to see if you've got any messages from your teachers there. Most of us utilize that pretty frequently. Now, I also personally, if I post an announcement, I copy it into an email and send that email out to the class as well. So you should get both. Okay. But it's always a good idea to check those. Make sure, I would strongly suggest that you have your school email on your phone so that you can look at that pretty often. I have students that, you know, we'll get to the middle of October and they're like, oh, I didn't know that that was a thing. And I'm like, well, I've sent about 12 emails about it. Oh, I don't ever look at my school email. Well, that's on you. That's not on me. Okay, that's the official communication for this class is through the announcements on Blackboard and through the school email. So I would suggest that it's easy enough just to have that pulled up there. I have mine on my phone so that if you email me, I can get back to you pretty quickly, and I expect you to have the same there. Okay, so that's the announcements page. The syllabus section we went over the other day. This is where you can find the actual syllabus, the course schedule, and the course expectations. We don't need to look at that again. Obviously, the grade book is where you'll see all of your grades, things that you've turned in, what your final grade is. Also, you'll see your absences. If you have been marked absent any days, it'll accrue there. The final grade is kind of your running total. As I talked about the other day, this is a weighted class, so that is a percentage weighted with all the different stuff. For the first little while, the only thing that'll be in there is assignment grades. And then we'll get to our first exam, and that will start weighting in there as well. So just remember that that is weighted. So if you do poorly on the first exam, it might bring your grade down a little bit, but as we get more exams in there, that'll come up some. Okay, so don't be discouraged if you're if it's low at the beginning, because it may even itself out. All right, we talked about attendance. Now, most of the stuff that you're going to need for your class is found in the course materials folder, the course materials page. And as you can see here, I have 4 folders so far in the course materials page, and I want to go through those and show you the information that you need, where you need to be able to access stuff for this class. Okay, so the very top one is our lecture videos. So if you do miss a class, or you need a refresher on something while you're working on the assignments, you can go back and view those. All right, I've got the one from Tuesday up already. I'm recording this class period, and over my lunch break between my 2 classes today, I will download that recording and also put that on YouTube as well. So, and I'll have a link in there. So when you see the links in here, it'll have the date, so you can go back and find whatever day you missed, and then I'll also try to include the topic in the title there so that if you need a refresher on something, you can go back and find the topic for it. Now, these are unedited. It's the full, you know, hour-and-a-half long or hour and 10-minute long lecture that we do in class, so you may have to kind of search around for it. One of the nice things about it, though, is since I use YouTube, it is automatically closed caption. So if you do need that captioning there, you will find them on YouTube. And it's pretty accurate. I went back and checked some of them. It looks like it's doing a pretty good job. Okay, you can also, the first time you click on one of those YouTube videos, you'll notice that I have created an actual YouTube page for this class. If you don't want to have to go through Blackboard to get to that stuff, you can just subscribe to the page if you want to. It doesn't matter to me either way. I'm not getting paid for this page or anything, so I don't care about the number of subscribers there. But it's just another way to be able to get to stuff. And I have created playlists for the different things. I've got a playlist for my web class. I've got a playlist for Monday, Wednesday, Friday classes, and then your lectures will all be under the Tuesday, Thursday lectures playlist, which is right there. Okay, so if you want to just subscribe to that playlist or save that playlist somewhere, that way you've always got that pulled up if you use YouTube frequently. The next thing I want to look at in course materials, I'm going to skip around a little bit. We'll come back to these daily listening assignments in just a second. I want to look at the part 1 section. For every part of the book, and I think there's 7 that we're going to go through this semester, you'll have a folder for that section. Okay, sometime next week I'll go ahead and make part 2 available, because I know I have some students that like to work ahead and stay on top of things as they have free time. For now, you just have access to part 1 though, because I want to kind of get you into the class and teach you how to do everything before you start working on those other assignments. Okay, so this is where you'll find everything for each unit that we're going to go through, starting with part 1, which is where we're starting this week. So in each of these sections, you have your instructions, and this will tell you everything that you're expected to do for this unit. In this case, obviously reading part 1, reading the first part of the book. Now, you don't have to read every chapter word for word. Okay, I never did that. In fact, I had a real bad habit of never opening textbooks when I was in college. But you definitely don't need to read every single word of the textbook. It is the brief edition, so it's a little bit easier. But you can kind of skim over it. And then as you do these assignments, looking those assignments up in the textbook will give you the information that you need. And also, I'm going to go over all of the information that you need in class. So I actually follow the textbook. I know not a lot of college professors do, but the PowerPoints that I go through, the lectures that I go through, they all follow the information that's in the textbook pretty closely. Okay, so you will get it that way as well. And then you've got 2 sets of assignments that are due for this part, and all of those assignments are due on September 11th. Okay, so you've got a couple of weeks from tomorrow to get those first set of assignments done. Now, normally I will have a few assignments due every week, but here at the beginning, I wanted to make sure that you had some time to get familiar with it, get used to how to do those assignments before I make them all due. All right, I wanted to give you a chance to kind of get into the flow of things before you've got a bunch of assignments due. But be aware that that is quite a few assignments, like 10 assignments or something that are due on September 11th. So don't wait until the night of September 10th to start working on those assignments. Go ahead and start making your way through them. I have a few students that have already done all of the assignments, and they don't have to do anything else until the next set of stuff is due, which is going to be that next week, it's like September 18th or whatever it is. Okay, and then your exam will be, for you guys, it's actually on September 10th. I need to go back and fix this for your class. So it'll be the Thursday of the 3rd week of class will be the exam. If you're in class, you'll come and take that exam on your computer, and then you'll be done for the day. If you're not in class, if you're doing everything over Collaborate or virtually, you'll actually have that weekend to do the test. It'll become live on September 10th, and it'll be due on the morning of September 14th by 8 a.m. Okay, so don't wait until September 14th to do it, because it'll probably be too late if you're a normal college student. Do it over the weekend or that Thursday or Friday and go ahead and get it out of the way. But I'll actually go in and grade it on September 14th. Yes, ma'am. If you haven't gotten your books, you should still be okay, and I'm going to tell you why in just a minute for those tests. Now, if I will obviously make exceptions. If the books have not come in yet, then we can work something out. It's not going to be a big deal. They should be. I've been assured by the bookstore that they're going to be here. They actually should be here by tomorrow. But we'll see. Shipping and everything is kind of up in the air right now, and now with for the first time in history, Arkansas is under a tropical storm warning, so who knows what that's going to do to everything. So it's going to be an interesting couple of weeks. But I'll help you out in just a minute. Okay, so that's all the stuff that's due for every part. You can go and look, and you know exactly when things are going to be due for that unit that we're on. Now let's talk about these assignments real quick. you have two sets of assignments, as you can see up here, for each part. You have regular assignments and you have listening assignments. They are different even though they're numbered the same. The numbering correlates to where they fall in the textbook. So assignment 1.1 is part 1, chapter 1. 1.2 is part 1, chapter 2. And if they have multiple digits here, if it's like 1.5-8, this assignment covers chapters 5 through 8 in the textbook. There wasn't enough information for each of those chapters to make a standalone assignment, so I just combined them all together. I usually try to make sure you have somewhere between 10 and 15 questions for each assignment. Some of them have, 8. It just kind of works itself out. All right, so that's how the numbering works, and that lets you know where you can find the stuff. Now, these, what I call regular assignments, are set up just like a test in Blackboard. So if you've ever taken a test in Blackboard, it's going to look the same way. When you click on it, it's going to open it up and it's going to look like a test. All right. You can save these and resume them later. You don't have to do the assignment all in one sitting. You do have unlimited attempts for these assignments, and that's going to be handy. I'll tell you in a minute. And it also shows you when it's due. So when you begin, it's going to pull up these multiple choice questions. Okay. Now, these, I tried to make sure that these are in order of the textbook. So if you've got the textbook open while you're working through these, you should come across all of these questions and answers in the textbook as you're reading along, or you can just hunt for the answers that way. Also, pretty much every question is answered in the PowerPoint. And you do have the PowerPoint available in this one. So that's, if you don't have the textbook yet, you can open up the PowerPoint and you'll be able to find all of the answers there. Okay, so you go through and you do this assignment, and I'm just going to kind of guess it. So I'm not even reading the questions, so don't assume that these are the right answers. So this one has about 14 questions. So if I go through here and answer all the questions, and then I'll wait on it to say that the answers are saved. Sometimes it takes a minute to catch up. And then we hit save and submit. It pulls up some stuff here, some information here. I took 1 minute to do that. And then if you hit OK, it'll show you your score for that attempt, which in this case was a 5 out of 14. That's better than I did yesterday. With my random guesses. But notice that it will also show you all of the questions. It'll show you the answer that you picked, and it'll show you the correct answer. Now, I mentioned a minute ago that you have unlimited attempts at this. So what I suggest is that you screenshot this or print it to a PDF or print it out to paper if you're one of those people that hates trees. Just kidding. It's okay to print stuff. And go back and do it again, plugging in the right answers. Okay, there is zero reason why you should never have less than 100% on these assignments, because you can always just go back and do it again with the right answers in there. Okay, also, these questions are directly from the test, from the exam for each part. I've taken exam 1 and I've split it into these, whatever, how many ever assignments, I have 6 assignments or something, 5 or 6 assignments. Okay, it's all the same questions, all the same options for the answers. The only difference is that the test is randomized. So the question order is randomized and the order of the options is randomized. So you can't just memorize that a dynamic accent occurs in music when a performer does what? Oh, that's answer C. It's not always going to be the case. It's going to shift around. Okay, so you need to actually memorize the definition there. Does that make sense? So these serve as your study guide for every exam. All right, now because of that, I'm not going to print a study guide and send it to you because you've got it all there. You have to do the work yourself. All right, does that make sense so far? Okay, let's get out of here. So that's the first set of assignments. You've got 5 of them in this section. Part 2 is a much shorter unit. There's only 2 chapters. There's only 2 assignments, but all of my exams are 50 questions. So those 2 assignments are 25 questions apiece. They'll be a little bit longer, but instead of doing 5 of them, there's only 2 of them. So it evens itself out that way. The second set of assignments that you have to do for each part are the listening assignments. This is music, right? So we're going to do a lot of listening, and I want you to answer some questions based on listening and based on the pieces of music that we're going to listen to. Okay, all of the pieces of music that we're going to listen to are covered in the book. The book has listening outlines that you can read through, and it'll actually have all the answers for the stuff that I'm going to be asking you about in these assignments. Now, these assignments are not built into Blackboard, multiple choice assignments. These are standalone assignments, so when you click on them, of course, it shows you the due date and the points possible. You've got instructions here. Read the instructions. I'm going to go over them with you anyway, but read them just to double check to make sure you remember how to do them. So you're going to click on the document, and it's going to open up a Word document that looks like this. When you get these documents open, you'll notice that there's a link at the top, and then there are some questions for each piece. Okay, so for chapter 1, for part 1, chapter 1, we've got 2 different pieces that we need to listen to and answer some of the questions. Now, we're actually going to do this first one together, probably Tuesday of next week, but I want to go ahead and show these to you for those of you that like to work ahead. So you'll click on the link, and most of them are YouTube, some of them are Spotify. If it's a Spotify link and you can't get it to open for whatever reason, you don't use Spotify regularly, shoot me an email and I can send you a YouTube link version of it instead. But I figure most college students have access to Spotify and use it. You shouldn't have to log in or anything. These should be available in the freebie accounts. And then you're just going to answer the questions. All of these answers, for the most part, can be found in the textbook. So if you have that listening guide open, you'll be able to read along with that stuff. But try to use your brain a little bit and hear, what instrument family takes over the melody at 1:40, at 1 minute 40 seconds. See if you can figure that out on your own. That is the point of these assignments, is to start learning how to identify that kind of stuff in the music that you're listening to. Does that make sense? Okay, but you do have the listening outlines in the book. Now, the next step is extremely important. Once you complete all the answers, you need to save the document. You need to save the document. You need to save the document. Okay? If you upload the document before you save it, it's going to upload this blank document back to me. I can't give you credit for a document that doesn't have any answers on it. Does that make sense? Okay? So, complete the document and then save it. And then hit Browse My Computer and find the assignment and upload it. I had somebody yesterday that went ahead and tried to start doing these assignments, but they didn't read the instructions, and they just wrote their answers here. That's not what I want on these assignments. I want you to upload the document back in so that the questions and the answers are all right there. Okay? Make sure you do that. Now, side note, there's a couple of MacBooks out there. If you open the document and it opens in Pages, which is Mac's version of Word, that's fine. You can do the assignment in Pages. That's perfectly okay. But you have to save it as a .doc file. Okay, you can't save it as a Pages file. I won't be able to open it. All right, my work computer is a Microsoft Surface, and that's where I'm doing all of my grading on. Okay, I don't want to have to go to my personal stuff and open it up that way. Does that make sense? Okay, if you're not sure how to do that, you can stick around after class and I'll show you. Or you can also, if you don't want to have to mess with it at all, you guys, everybody, including Mac users, have access to Microsoft Office. There's a link on the portal to get you there, and you can download the entire Office suite and just log in with your school email address, and you've got it for free as long as you're a student here. Okay, so the Office for Mac is actually in a lot of ways, it's better than Office for Windows, but you can, that way you don't have to worry about saving it as a correct file. Now, Chromebook people, the Google Docs should work. They usually go ahead and open up in Blackboard, but Pages does not convert it correctly. When it does try to convert it, I just get a bunch of gibberish. It looks like an encrypted document. Okay, so make sure you save it as a .doc file or as a PDF. That's fine too. If you're familiar with how to do that, that works also. Everybody with me so far? Cool. Okay, so that is the listening assignments. Oh, also in the part one folder and in the folder for every part, you'll find the PowerPoint for the section. This is a link to my SharePoint drive. So the reason that I do the link is because sometimes I change the PowerPoints as I'm going through and reading them to prepare for class. Sometimes I decide that something needs to be edited or I want to add in a video or something like that. So this is kind of a living document. It changes. So don't just download the PowerPoint to your computer because I might change something. It'll probably be a minor change at this point, but I might change things there. And these PowerPoints, by the way, are based on the full edition of the book. So there's going to be some extra information in here that you may not need. All right. Going back to course materials. The next thing I want to talk about is the performance assessments. Okay, these are those big assignments that that I've mentioned before. They are 10, each of them is 10% of your final grade. So they're a big chunk of your final grade. You're going to want to make sure that you do these right. Okay, so pay attention, and before you do the assignments, go back and read over the instructions and make sure you remember how to do it. And of course, if you have questions, if you're unsure about something, shoot me an email or see me after class, and we can talk about it and make sure that you're clear on what you're supposed to be doing. Okay, so in that folder, you've got the 2 assignments themselves, which are Word documents like those listening assignments, and then you've got the guidelines and instructions. Okay, and that looks like this. Now, I'm not going to read this word for word. I'm going to give you the gist of it. For the performance assessments, the way these assignments work is that with the Arkansas Credit Transfer System, all of the music appreciation classes in the state of Arkansas at the university level expect you to attend 2 live concerts in the classical or the jazz style and to write some kind of critical response about them. So if you were taking this class anywhere in the state at a state college, that is one of the expectations. Everybody has to do that. Okay. Now, because of the situation we're in right now with the pandemic, things are a little bit janky this semester. So instead of being able to go to live concerts, a lot of the concert venues are closed. The Arkansas Symphony Orchestra is not doing live performances until January. A lot of the colleges are closing their concert halls and just doing live streaming for their concerts. So I've adjusted the assignment for you guys. This is actually good for you. It makes it easier for you guys. That you can, instead of attending a live concert, you can watch a video of a live concert on YouTube and do the critical response that way. Now, some teachers for the critical response, they have you write an essay or a report of some kind, a paper of some kind. I didn't do that. I actually made an assignment with specific questions in there that you'll go through and answer, and I'll show you that in just a minute. Okay, now again, these concerts have to be in the classical or the jazz genre. And to make it easy for you, I've actually just given you a list of concerts to choose from. You don't have to worry about going and picking a concert. I've got all the ones that are approved by me here already. For performance assessment 1, the music needs to be written before 1900. Okay. And I've given you 15 YouTube videos, actually 13 YouTube videos and 2 Facebook videos of concerts that you can choose from here. These are not short 3-minute songs like in the listening assignments. These are 20, 25-minute long concerts. Okay, that's one of the reasons why this assignment is worth so much, is because it is going to take you a little while to do it. Now, it's easier than it usually is because you don't have to get in your car and go drive to a concert and sit there for the whole concert. You can actually do this from the comfort of your couch at home. But they are lengthy concerts, and I do expect you to watch them. Okay? All of these YouTube videos are from other universities around that have solid YouTube channels, like the University of Michigan, University of North Texas, some of the best college music programs in the country. There are a couple of them that are from professional organizations like the London Symphony Orchestra, the San Francisco Symphony Orchestra. They have a pretty solid YouTube presence as well. And then I did include a couple of Facebook videos. UCA has been streaming all of their concerts onto Facebook. So these are actually a couple of senior recitals from last semester that were streamed. The program for these is embedded in the video for the 2 Facebook ones. So you'll need to just pause it and get the program information that way. I've asked them to have the program in like the description of the video to make it easier, but nobody listens to me. So for these other ones, the YouTube videos, most of them will have the program information in the description, or they'll have a link to like a PDF file of the program as well. Okay, so for performance assessment 1, you've got these to choose from, and I've got them split into genre. If you're a dancer, you can watch this ballet video. These are either a full orchestra or a chamber ensemble, which means a small group like a string quartet or something along those lines, or a solo piano or something. And then down here, you've got the choir and opera. So those of you, like Jerry was in choir in high school, so she might want to watch the choir ones. Okay, so you've got all of those there. This is all going to be music written before 1900. For performance assessment 2, it's going to be music written after 1900, 20th and 21st century music. So again, I've got them split up. This is where your band music is going to show up. If you were in band in high school and you want to see some of the best bands in the country, that's what I've chosen for these 5 videos under the side. You do have some modern choir stuff and some modern orchestra stuff. The cool thing about the performance assessment 2 is that some of this stuff is 21st century music that was written in the last couple of years. Some of these are world premieres from last year, which I think is really great to see that people are writing this music still, and there's some really great stuff still being written by modern performers. Also, almost all of these are university students. They're students your age that are performing. And I think that's really cool. I think that's good for you to see that there are performers your age that are performing at this high level. Okay? Now, there are going to be some concerts this semester. So if you have friends that are at Tech and in band or choir, or at UCA and are in band or choir, they are going to do concerts. Okay? Some of them. They may be weird, they may be limited in some way, but they are going to do concerts, even if it's live streamed. If you want to watch one of those because your friend plays in that band, that's fine, but you need to email me and get pre-approval. Okay, if you're not going to use one of the videos on this document, you need to get my approval to use what you want to use. Does that make sense? I've gone through with these 30 videos, and these are all approved by me. But anything else that you might want to pick, you have to go through me to make sure it's right. Okay, if you wait until November 20th to turn in the assignment and you picked a video that was not pre-approved by me, you're up a creek. And that's 10% of your grade that you've lost. Okay, so you need to check with me. So shoot me an email that says, hey, my friend has a band concert on this date. This is what they're playing. Will this count? Now, I will tell you, because they are separate by when they are supposed to have been written, if it's a band concert, then it's probably going to qualify as performance assessment 2 because most band music was written after 1900. Okay, the modern band that we have in schools didn't really exist until the early part of the 20th century. Choir concerts a lot of times will play older music, but you'll want to get with that director and see if you can get their program to find out for sure. Okay, the easy thing for you to do is just to pick one of the videos that's on here, but you do have that option if you've got friends that are doing stuff. Okay, both of these assignments are due on November 20th at midnight. Don't wait until November 19th to do these assignments. Okay, I cannot tell you how many emails I get every semester that says, on November 20th, they say, well, I went to do the performance assessments last night and my internet went out. Sorry. You've had months to do these assignments. Okay, I've actually had a couple of people already turn them in. Some folks in my Monday, Wednesday, Friday class that heard me talk about it yesterday and went home and did one of the assignments. They've already got it done. That's 100 points. That's 10% of your total grade. They've already got it done. Okay. I would suggest that you do that. If you're not overwhelmed by homework right now, because we're early in the semester, maybe spend some time this weekend and get these done. Each one of them shouldn't take you more than an hour to do. So block off a couple hours of time, stick your headphones on, and listen to some classical music and do these assignments. Okay. If you turn them in at least a week early, so if you turn them in at least by November 12th, which is my daughter's birthday, by the way, and there's a mistake, there's something wrong with it, I'll put it in the comments what you need to fix, and you'll have a chance to fix it. Okay. If you wait until within a week of the assignment being due, you're not going to have the chance to fix it. So again, it's good for you to go ahead and get it done early. Also, I will not accept these assignments late for any reason. Okay? You have months, plan accordingly, get them done. Okay? All right, any questions about the performance assessments? Those are big assignments, so I want to make sure that you understand them. Collaborate people, if you have any questions, just jump into the chat or raise your hand. Okay. When you actually do the assignments, they're Word documents. Again, you'll click on the Word document and it'll look like this. It has an article on the first page, just a short little article to read. And they are different, by the way. I had somebody last semester just turn in the performance report 1 twice. They are different, so make sure you click on the different assignments for each one. All right, so you'll read the article. These are just questions to be thinking about while you're listening to the music and watching the video, and then this is the actual assignment. It's 11 questions. It's not that hard. I do expect these to be in complete sentences, well thought out answers, not just one word answers. Okay, and the fact that I have to say this to college students is actually a little bit sad, but I do not accept I don't know as an answer. That is not an answer. Okay, figure it out. You're college students, learn to think. Okay, now if it's something like this question, how large was the audience? If you can't see the audience at all, then that's okay. Just write a sentence that says, in this video, the audience was not visible, but you can make a guess. You know, what do you expect that you probably would see in the audience if you were there? Okay, that's fine. All of these other ones, you should be able to find them. For the composer, for question 7, I have a lot of people that mistake the conductor for the composer because of the way that some of the videos are labeled. So be sure to check the program for who actually wrote the music. Okay, if you look at the program, it'll say the title of the piece, and then it'll have the composer, and then it'll have dates around them. That's their birth and death year. Okay, so make sure you list the composer. It's going to be people like Beethoven and Mozart and Bach and folks like that. Okay, again, if you're not certain about something, ask me. I'm here to help you. Okay, I will help you do the assignment if you have questions. All right, and again, if you turn it in early and you do that incorrectly, I'll give you a chance to fix it. So again, complete everything on this document, save the document, and then upload it back into Blackboard just like you do for those listening assignments, and you'll be good to go. Okay, I'll usually grade them within a week of you getting them turned in. Most assignments I grade within a couple of days. These are a little bit bigger, so I have to go through and read through everything, so it may take me about a week to get them done, especially as we get close to the time where everybody's turning them in. Yeah, when I have 200 people turn in the assignment all at the same time, it takes me a little bit longer to get it graded. Okay, if there are no questions about that, then we'll go on. Okay, every day that we have class from here on out, except for test days, you will have what's called a daily listening assignment. These are separate assignments that are not tied in with the section of the book that we're going over. okay? And these are found in this folder right here. This is what we're going to do in class. So if you've got your laptop with you, go ahead and open it up, and we're going to get into this assignment and do it together. If you don't, you can do this on your phone. So I would suggest doing it with us, or you can go back and do it later. So if you click on the daily listening assignments, you will see the assignment for each day in here, okay? And I'll usually post it the morning that we have class. So for today, we have daily listening 1, DL1, and it has today's date. So if you were absent today, you could go back and say, okay, this is the one that we did, so you can do it that way. All right, for these assignments, the way that it's gonna work is when you walk in every day, I'm gonna have a YouTube video up on the board. I'll start that YouTube video a couple of minutes before class starts, and I'm gonna let it go for about 2 or 3 minutes after class starts. Usually that'll give me a chance to take roll once I'm more familiar with your faces and don't have to actually call roll. And of course, synchronous people, you'll be able to see the video as well. I'll have it shared so that you'll be able to see it from here. Okay, now you also will have a link to it. I've had students before that like to go ahead and do these before class so they don't have to worry about it, or you would rather do it after class so that you don't feel rushed to get it done. That's fine. That's why I put the link to the video there so you can click on it yourself. So what you'll need to do for this assignment, to complete these, you'll need to click on the assignment, and that takes you into this page. These will have due dates. They're due, so you have you'll have 2 a week, you know, one Tuesday, one Thursday of each week, and they'll be due on the following Tuesday. So if you miss a couple days, you've got the weekend to catch up. Okay. So you don't have to worry about any Word documents or anything for these questions. What you need to do is select from where it says piece down, or you can just select all of it if you want, it doesn't matter. And you're going to copy it, and you're going to go down here to this box that says Write Submission. You're going to click on that, and you're going to paste it in here. Now, to paste, you might have to hit Control V or Command V to get it to paste within the browser. A lot of times the right click and paste doesn't work in browsers for some reason. Okay, everybody with me so far? All right, so this is where you're going to answer the questions. So for each of these assignments, you'll have this piece and composer, and you'll need to fill that out. And then you'll have to answer these questions about the piece that you're listening to. Now, part of the reason I do this, there's 2 reasons. Number one, there's actually 3 reasons. The first reason is because it's a good way to kind of get us started. If you remember those bell ringers that you had to do in high school, it's kind of the same idea. The second reason is because there's a lot of music that I love that I want to share with you guys, because I'm that kind of person, that's not covered in the textbook. And this gives me a way to share some of that music. Kind of, you know, it's not a big, difficult assignment that you have to do, but it just kind of gives us a, you know, a way to listen to this music and to think and discover this music a little bit. I'm going to answer this question from Rebecca real quick. She says, can we turn that in as a Word or PDF document? I've had problems with Blackboard's text box. Yes, you can. Okay, if you would rather copy that into a Word document and then upload that document, that's perfectly fine as well. Okay. Now, I will tell you, I've had a couple of students that have, instead of pasting in the Write Submission box, for some reason have pasted in the comment box down here. I would much rather it formats it a lot better if you paste it in the Write Submission box. So click on the button that says Write Submission and paste it there. Don't paste it in the comment box down below. It formats it really weird, and it's hard for me to read the answers that way. Okay, the third reason that I like to do these assignments is because it teaches you how to research music a little bit. It's not big, heavy, go to the library and pull out a bunch of encyclopedia research. It's just looking up simple things like, when was this piece written? Right? You all have a computer in your pocket. Some of you have a computer sitting on the desk. Most of you have a computer on the desk in front of you. You all have access to the internet, and Google is magic. Google this stuff. Okay? So the first piece that we're listening to, I'm going to show you in just a minute, you can just Google that piece and you'll find very easily when it was written, or at least when the album came out, and that gives you a pretty good idea of when it was written. For the older pieces of music that we listen to, again, you'll be able to find it. if you just do a little bit of Googling. Okay, I want you to get used to that. One thing that I've noticed that non-music people, you know, I've been obsessed with music since I was about 5 years old, but people that aren't like me, you don't ever think about where the music you listen to came from. You may have a song that you hear every day, one of your favorite songs, and you don't really know anything about it. So I encourage you to do a little bit of research, Google some stuff about it, find out who actually wrote it, because the chances are, especially if it's a pop song, the chances are the performer did not actually write that song. Okay, some of them do. You know, T Swift writes a lot of her own music, but some of these other ones, these other pop artists have, you know, teams of people that are writing their music for them. Yes. Yeah, so there are a few artists, a few pop artists that do write their own songs, but there's a lot that don't. And even if they do write their own songs, they have collaborators. They have other people that they'll work with. So, you know, for Luke Bryan, it might say Luke Bryan and then have 3 or 4 other names. And those are people that they worked with. So it's a good thing. It's a good idea to go ahead and check out some of that stuff. All right. And this is kind of giving you the tools to do that, showing you how you're going to do that. And then also, you'll notice that there are questions like, how does this piece make you feel? What do you imagine when you listen to this piece? Okay, that's 100% subjective. That's 100% you. And I want you to take it seriously. You know, now, you don't have to give me an answer that I want to hear. I want you to give a real answer that you actually feel. You don't have to try to placate me. All right, I'm a grown man. I know that not everybody likes the same music. That's fine. Okay, if you don't like it, that's great. Tell me why you don't like it. What is it you don't like about it? You know, I had somebody, when it said, what do you imagine when you listen to this piece? They said, I imagine standing in an elevator. They felt like it sounded like elevator music. I read one this morning that I was grading on that said it sounded like a cantina band in Star Wars, right? That kind of stuff is fine. Or it sounded like video game music. You know, whatever you think about whenever you're doing this. Well, under the how does this make you feel, somebody said, I feel confused because I didn't know that anybody played jazz anymore, which I thought was an interesting, because I actually make a pretty good amount of money playing jazz almost every weekend. So, but, you know, that's one of those interesting comments there. And that's fine. I like reading stuff like that. I would much rather read those kind of comments than just, how does this make you feel? Good. Well, come on. My 10-year-old daughter could give me a better answer than that. All right. So we're going to do this one together. The piece that we're going to be listening to is a piece called Lingus. Actually, I'm going to minimize that for a second so I can show you. All right. The piece is called Lingus. The album is We Like It Here, so you don't have to worry about that. The composer, so the actual composer of this piece is this guy, Michael League, who's the bass player of the band. But you can also just put Snarky Puppy. If it's a band and you can't find exactly who wrote it, you can just put the band name there. It's fine. Okay? The other stuff, if you just Google this piece, you'll find it. All right? You should be able to find the information. Everybody else has. So we're going to listen to about 3 minutes of this piece, and you've got that time to go ahead and answer those questions. All right? If it takes you a little bit longer than that, it's not a big deal. So when you're answering the questions, almost all of them will have the same questions. There'll be a few of them where I want you to reflect on specific things about the piece of music that you're listening to. So a lot of times you'll see this era box here. When we get into the music history part of the class, that'll become more relevant. For this one, it's a modern piece. You can just put modern, or you can put 21st century if you want. That's perfectly fine. Anything that's been written since 1900, we either call 20th or 21st century for the most part. Okay. What year did you find for this one? 2014. Yeah, 2014 was when this was written. And for the instruments, hopefully you were just kind of looking at the instruments on the video. What are some of the instruments that you saw? Drums, some pianos, keyboards. Sorry?
Cello.
A cello? I didn't see a cello in there.
There's a bass. Look too small to be a bass. It was in the background. I don't know if you could find it or not.
Oh, you know what? There may have been, because this was a recording session, and they may have used cellos for some of the other ones. So I don't know if there was one actually in this.
There's a tenor sax.
There's a tenor saxophone. Yeah. Trumpets. Oh yeah, you're right. There's a cello right there. Yeah. Cool.
And violin.
Yeah, I think the strings are used on some of the other tunes there. Yeah, some keyboards, drums, guitars, electric bass, all that stuff. Yeah, good. And for this example, at least, if all else fails, if you click on the description, it actually tells you the personnel. So it's all right there. Okay. So you can go ahead and hit submit there and get your 5 points for today. So that's another way that I kind of give you a daily grade. Now, you don't have to be here to do that. If you miss class, you can go back and make them up. And if, like I said, you can do them on your own. If you want to do them before or after class at any point, that's perfectly fine. Okay? All right. Going back to Blackboard. So for your daily listenings, when you come into class every day or you open up Collaborate every day, while you're in Blackboard, go ahead and go over to your daily listings, look and see if there's one for that day. There should be one for pretty much every day except for the test days, unless I just forget to post it that morning, which happens sometimes. Okay. I'll put the newest one on top so that you're not having to scroll all the way down to the bottom once we get to November. So you'll be able to find them in that order. Okay. All right, what else do I need to show you in Blackboard? I think everything else is pretty self-explanatory. The calendar is pretty handy. You'll be able to see when things are due. Now, this has all of my classes. So just turn that off. So let's get to where it just shows the 925 class. So you'll see that the first daily listening is due on Tuesday the 1st. So you've got that due date there. If you go over to September, when we get to September 11th, you'll notice that there's a whole bunch of stuff due on September 11th. Now, this is multiple classes, but for you, you've got all of those assignments due on September 11th. And then on September 14th, you'll have an exam due. And once I make that available to you on that Thursday, the 10th, you'll see that due date pop up there as well. So that's another way to check and make sure you've got everything done that you're supposed to have done for class each week. If you need to get in touch with me and you can't remember my email address, you can always use the send email button if you need to. Now, I will tell you, for some reason, we've got some new filters in Outlook on campus, and emails from Blackboard are showing up as spam. They're going through, but it has like a little spam icon next to it. So if it's from my email address, from smithlogan@uaccm.edu, it's not going to be spam. So check the subject and make sure that that it's showing up there. And I'll try to make sure that the emails are actually going through whenever I'm sending them. Okay? I just asked about the name of the piece we just listened to. It is Lingus, Lingus. All right. If you are going to log in from home at some point and you've not done that before, you have this collaborate session. Now, I keep the room locked because I'm not using just the general room. I have a special, a distinct collaborate session for each of them. You'll notice that I do have them recurring. So there's one for every day that we have class, and those are already made. So you'll just find the one for that date and click on it to be able to log in. Okay, and it's all found on this collaborate thing. Okay, what time is it? 10:23. Does anybody have any questions about Blackboard or any of the other basic stuff, how to complete this class, anything like that? Okay, I think I'm going to wait until Tuesday to actually get into the content of the class. To kind of, I don't really want to start it for 15 minutes and then let you go. So we'll start in on part one on Monday. I would suggest that you at least glance over. I'm sorry. Tuesday. Sorry. I'll suggest that you at least glance over the first 4 chapters of the book before you come in. Otherwise, we'll see you on Tuesday. If you're online and you have any questions, you can put them in the chat, or if you'll hang on just a second, you can raise your hand and I'll have you ask me virtually once I can hear. Otherwise, you are free to go. Oh, somebody came in late. Did she already leave? Dang. Just a reminder that if you do come in late, come up to me after class and tell me your name so that I can get you changed over to present.
I still haven't been able to get my book.
Okay.
So what can I do about that?
You should still be able to do those assignments.